In just a few weeks, tens of thousands of career federal employees could lose their civil service protections. Positions that get converted to the new schedule policy career will no longer have the ability to appeal an adverse action or termination. But additional guidance is out showing some other benefits employees might lose if they are reclassified. Here with the details is Federal News Network's Drew Friedman. Drew, great to have you.
Nice to be with you, Terry.
All right, let's talk about what this supplemental guidance says about these schedule policy career spots. Give us a general overview of what will change if someone gets reclassified.
So the top level news on the schedule policy / career talks a lot about losing these job protections that employees have had for decades or really longer than that. And essentially this new schedule policy / career will apply to policy influencing positions, and they won't be able, as you mentioned, to appeal adverse actions, performance-based actions to the Merit Systems Protection Board. They also cannot appeal a decision by their agency to reclassify them to Schedule PC in the first place. And then once any positions are moved into Schedule Policy Career, agencies won't be able to move them back to a different category of employment unless that gets explicit approval from OPM and the White House. So that's kind of just a top-line overview of some of the things that those employees will lose who do end up getting reclassified in a couple weeks here.
So I just want to go back to something you said. If someone gets notified that they're being reclassified and they don't want to be reclassified, do they have an option?
No, there's no appeal option for the reclassification to start out with, and then also no options once they are reclassified to appeal any adverse actions, such as some sort of discipline, like a suspension or firing from that point on.
Well, really important to understand that baseline then. What other incentives or benefits will they lose in that process of reclassification?
So if we look a little bit closer at some of this additional guidance that the Office of Personnel Management released, there's more details about the expectations and the implementation of schedule policy / career. One notable change is that any employees who have student loan repayment benefits, if they are converted to schedule policy / career, they won't be able to have those benefits renewed. Any existing agreements can continue until they're terminated, but there can't be any new agreements made. The same thing goes for recruitment, retention, and relocation incentives. These are pay-based incentives that some agencies will use to try to better hire and retain employees for positions that are difficult to get a lot of people interested. So those incentives will not be possible for schedule policy / career employees. Again, works in a similar way where if there is an existing agreement, that can continue, but no new agreements can be made. And then a third change is that these employees will no longer be eligible for presidential rank awards. And as we all know, that is one of the highest and most prestigious honors that career federal employees can earn. Those were, of course, canceled for 2025, but they're making a return in 2026.
Drew, what happens to these employees' bargaining unit status? Will they still be able to be part of a bargaining unit?
Technically, the way that OPM is framing this is that the schedule policy / career classification doesn't automatically mean that these employees are going to lose their bargaining unit status. The guidance from OPM that they issued after the final rule says that those employees may still be eligible, but it also depends on what the decision is over at the Federal Labor Relations Authority. They have a process for reviewing petitions from agencies for bargaining unit clarifications. So there's some process there on the FLRA side that may need to get worked through, but generally just the final rule on its own won't necessarily remove bargaining unit eligibility, but more broadly, as we know, a lot of federal employees have lost their bargaining unit status due to the Trump administration's changes throughout 2025.
One of the other benefits that many federal civilians rely on is retirement and health insurance. Will that change if they are reclassified?
So the short answer is no, it will not. This is something we did hear some concerns from readers about what would happen to an employee who is eligible for retirement, who gets reclassified, and then after they're in this new classification, they choose to retire or leave their job. According to OPM's guidance that they've released so far, those retirement and health insurance benefits appear to be unchanged. So they will continue to receive their normal retirement pensions through the FERS system if they are reclassified. That's what the guidance says so far. So no real changes there in that part of benefits, at least.
So, Drew, when you take all of these together, all of these changes in benefits and status, it sounds a little bit like Schedule C to me. Did they just copy and paste from Schedule C benefits into Schedule Policy Career?
There is definitely some alignment between the benefits that Schedule C appointees have and some of the guidance that we're seeing emerge on Schedule Policy Career. So, for example, if we go back to student loan and those repayment benefits, that's something that Schedule C appointees generally do not have access to. So having Schedule Policy Career employees in that same boat there. And then another place of alignment is with those recruitment, relocation, retention incentives. That's something where only career employees generally on the general schedule or in the career senior executive service, they have access to those incentives, but Schedule C appointees and other political appointees do not have access to those incentives. So again, you're seeing a shift towards similar benefits for Schedule Policy Career, as we've already seen for a long time for Schedule C appointees as well.
That's Federal News Network's Drew Friedman. Drew, thanks as always for adding clarity to something that's kind of complicated.
Thank you, Terry.
You can find her story at federalnewsnetwork.com.